It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sportsbook and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
And here we go. It's the Tuesday edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline, our Superbook USA edition, which means Jeff Sherman, who's back from vacation, will be joining us in just a little bit. Us will be Ralph Michaels from Wager Talk. I'm Dave Cokin. Ari Platinum is our producer. A couple of programming notes. You can just mark these down. I know a lot of you keep diaries of when we're on and stuff like that. Well, maybe not. We will be off next Tuesday, a week from today, because the Las Vegas Aces will be playing at that time, and we will be preempted. We will be off next Thursday because it's July the 4th. And we will be off July 8th through the 12th. The All-Star break will encompass the early part of the week, and I'm half owner of the show, and I decided, we're taking Thursday and Friday off, too. I'm going to be in Del Mar. So, July 8th through 12th, there will be no shows. We're not leaving. We'll be back after that. But there will be some days where network is picked up in this time slot. We just don't want anybody to think that we've suddenly decided to take the money and run. Hi, Ralph. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to hear it. You are, therefore, doing better than Tyler Glasnow. This is a bit of bad news for the Tampa Bay Rays. Glasnow is now out till at least August. He had, well, I don't know if setback is the right word, but there was some soreness in a throwing program that he was doing, and they have shut him down for at least another 3 weeks. So he is gone till at least August. And that's a blow for the Rays, who suddenly are, Blake Snell has not been pitching particularly well lately. Charlie Morton's been great. Chirinos has been quite good in what amounts to the fourth slot, and then they do the opener bit. But this is definitely a blow for Tampa.
You know, the Rays now 4-9, their last 13. They had that big series against the Yankees. They got swept, and this is just now more pressure on their bullpen. You know, they were expecting some help, and using the starter uses up a lot of their bullpen. Yeah. If their starters start to get in trouble and can't start going 6 or 7 innings, you're really going to see a drop-off.
Plus, they've got bullpen guys hurt, too.
Yeah.
So it's been a dream first half in a lot of ways for the Rays, who were forecast to be almost a lock for third place in that division going in, with the thought being that the Red Sox and Yankees would be superior to Tampa and that they would clearly be better than Toronto and Baltimore. They've been first or now second throughout the first half, but I don't know. That lead over the Red Sox looks very tenuous at this point, and the wild card could get clogged. So you can't. I don't think
Indians
at this point,
playing well. All of a sudden, gonna the Indians without their staff. I mean, you look at Clevenger and Salazar and Kluber on the IL. I mean,
and Carrasco,
and the way these young pitchers have pitched. When you get those guys back, I mean, they're going to be 8 deep in starters. It's going to be a plethora of people. So we'll see what happens.
I think I would at this point, and it's not a real strong opinion, but I think I'd bet against Tampa Bay getting to the playoffs. There's not a lot of depth there, and they really do max out their talent on a regular basis. Kevin Cash has done a great job. Front office, despite its restrictions, which are obvious, has done a really good job of finding guys who are not stars and molding a pretty good unit. But I tell you what, tonight's a big, big start for Blake Snell because he has not been good lately. We'll talk more about that game when we get to the 4 at 4 shortly. What did I want to talk about here?
MLB flops.
We're at the halfway mark. This is game 81 territory for most teams now. So let's talk about the biggest surprises in each league and the biggest flops in each league, and I will let you lead off.
I tweeted this today after seeing what subjects we were going to go over on the radio, and I did a mathematical computation, and it's just taking straight wins and losses, first part of the year, percentage of games played, and playing them out. So we know every team is not going to play the same way the first half compared to the second half.
Right.
But if they did, in a perfect situation, right now the Minnesota Twins are 21.2 games over what their win total would be. Minnesota would be projected at 105 wins. Their season win total was 84. And I know the season win totals varied by 1 or 2. I took one specific book and used their numbers just before the season started.
They're on a pace to be way over.
So they're on pace right now for 105. And a team you don't look at very much, you think the Dodgers, the Dodgers are 54-26. Their season win total was only 93. They're number 2, projected to go 16 games over, followed by Texas to go 16 games over. Tampa Bay, we talked about right now, 9.4. Atlanta, 8.3. And even with the Yankees' injuries, the Yankees right now are number 6 at plus 6.3 games over what their win total would be. The Yankees at 50-28. They had a win total of 97.5. They're projected for 103.8 wins.
So your biggest surprise is who?
No
in
question.
In terms of the surprise.
Oh, Texas.
Okay, same here.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't care how far over the Twins are.
Yes. No question.
I thought they'd win the division. Texas is a stunner to me. I thought they would be a bad baseball team that would maybe beat Seattle out of the AL West. And they're in the wild card mix right now. Now, whether it continues or not, we'll have to wait and see.
You know, another team is the Chicago White Sox for me.
Yeah.
They're 4 games under, but I had them in that Detroit-Kansas City range where they would be 20 games under at this point. So, to me, the White Sox would be the second biggest surprise in my book.
Well, we agree on the Rangers, 42-36 for that team. And some hopes, legitimate hopes, that they might actually maintain that pace. You know, they've done it the last few weeks without Joey Gallo, who was having a great first half. And I think it's possible the Rangers might look at this and say, we've got a chance to make the playoffs. Let's go buy somebody. I think they might be buyers at the deadline.
They're 28-15 at home. Obviously, they have to improve on that 14-21 road record.
On the disappointing side, I know they're making a move now, so maybe they won't stay in the disappointment category. But the Nationals have been a big flop.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't find a bigger flop, in my opinion.
You look at that pitching staff, and you clearly pick them to win that division. You know, just statistically, the bottom 4 teams, Toronto's 14.5 under, KC 14.1, Baltimore 12.3, Washington 10.6, and Detroit 10.3. You know, another one to me, besides Boston, I mean, Boston is a team that, you know, the way sales started, they just are on the bottom of everyone's profit. I thought the Mets would play better than they were. You know, they were a team that I had in the mid-range that could be a surprise team. So, to me, Boston, the Nationals, and the Mets are the 3 teams that jump out at me.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't that high on the Mets to begin with. I didn't like Callaway. I don't like Dave Martinez either. But the Mets have been dysfunctional for quite some time now. So I didn't really think they'd be that good. And being 37-42 is kind of where I had them projected, to be honest with you. Maybe not quite that low, but I did not think they would be a winning team. I put the Cardinals in the disappointment category. Even though they're 40-37, which is not a bad record, I don't think they've played to expectations. And I don't know that it's going to get any better. I think this is what it is for the St. Louis Cardinals. They're going to be kind of a middle-of-the-road team, and that's about it.
Their win total at the beginning of the year was 87, so statistically they're under 3.5 games. I know you said that, but, you know, and it's really on the road. I mean, some of their pitching, they have a couple guys that are so home road
Michaelis
split.
and Flaherty have tremendous home road dichotomies.
It's, you know, unless you learn to win on the road like that, they're going to be that team that just stays right around 500 and isn't going to make any headway. Because Milwaukee, the way they've played of late, they've come back to the pack.
Yeah, but the Brewers are a team I played under. And I'm actually surprised where they are. I thought they'd be maybe a 500 team this year. I don't like this Brewers team, and mainly because I think their starting pitching stinks. And to me, the only reason they're 6 games over 500 is Brandon Woodruff. This has come out of nowhere. Woodruff he's an all-star. Yeah. He should be an all-star anyway. If he's not on the all-star team, there's something wrong there. All right, that's a little bit of a rundown on the flops and tops, if you will. Let's take a look at some more immediate stuff, and we'll do that with tonight's rundown as we head to the Tuesday MJ Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3.
bring it to the folks.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sports Line's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
And we'll begin in the city of brotherly love, where the Phillies snapped a 7-game losing streak last night and did so with emphasis as they put 13 on the board against Steven Matz and the New York Mets. Close game for a while, as Zach Eflin did not have much for the Phillies last night, but the Phillies certainly won the battle of the bullpens and got a much-needed offensive breakout. They had not been scoring any runs. They unloaded last night. They'll try and do the same tonight. And, well, I mean, based on who's pitching for the Mets, they've got a good chance to do so because Lockett is, I don't even know if he's a quad A pitcher. Jake Arrieta on the mound for the Phillies. But there's the problem. As far as being able to bet this game with confidence goes, Arrieta's more a reputation than reality at this point, Ralph. He's just not that good. His game scores are below average for the season, below average recently, if you're looking at his last 3 starts. So even though there is a pitching edge, I would concede a pitching edge here with Arrieta over Lockett. $1.50 in that neighborhood, that's too steep for me. I actually think the value here, and it'd be risky on Lockett, who's never won a Major League start. But I think I'd lean Mets in this game.
Well, Lockett's made 1 start this year, and to say he got shelled is an understatement. 2 2/3 innings, gave up 6 runs. Last year, he made 3 starts. He was 0-3 with a 7-point ERA as well. So you look at the Mets, they're 5-18 as an away dog this year. And if you look at Arrieta, I mean, if you like Arrieta and that's the reason you're going to play the Phillies, you definitely have to look at first 5. In his last 10 starts, he's only gone over 6 innings, 1 start. But he has put up back-to-back quality starts against the Diamondbacks and the Nationals, going 6 innings in both, allowing a total of 4 earned runs and 8 hits.
Here's an interesting matchup. Braves and Cubs. Wind blowing out at Wrigley tonight. Max Fried on the mound for the Braves. And Alzolay makes his first Major League start for the Cubs. He's had 1 relief appearance, which was quite good against the Mets. He worked 4 innings, gave up a home run and nothing else. There's some debate as to who the best pitching prospect in the Cubs organization is. And Alzolay is either number 1 or number 2 in just about everybody's file. I have him as my number 1 Cubs pitching prospect. I think he's really taken a step forward this year. He sat out the second half of last season with a bit of a shoulder issue. He has stormed through AAA this year, and the numbers over his last 5 or 6 starts have been spectacular. I think 3 walks and 39 strikeouts. Those are numbers you'll love to see. Guys who are commanding the strike zone. Fastball in the mid to high 90s, a good curveball. That's his main arsenal right now. The changeup is a work in progress. If that changeup develops, you've got a potential number 1 starter. Even if not, he's probably a mid-rotation guy. So he's somebody I'm pretty high on. He is a little more fly ball prone than his opponent, Max Fried, but take these for what they're worth. Fly ball to home run percentage for Alzolay in the minors has been very low, whereas Fried, when he does give up fly balls, fly ball to home run ratio is about 20% this year, and it was last year as well. So when he makes a mistake and batters get it in the air, they can get it out of the ballpark, and that could play into what's happening at Wrigley tonight because the wind is blowing out. Cubs are not as good against lefties, so that's a negative on their side. The Braves, they can just rake everybody, although they got shut down a bit last night. I thought the Cubs were the right side in this one.
Well, Fried, as you said, his ground ball to fly ball ratio is important. But in 2 of his last 3 starts, now it was home against the Mets and it was at the Marlins, he's at a 17-0 ground ball fly ball ratio. So
that's
those great performances.
And if he does that tonight, he's probably going to win.
You know, and Alzolay, like you said, how do you pronounce it? I'm sorry, Dave.
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I think Alzolay, I believe.
You know, there's a few guys that have come up and we've looked at what they've done in AAA. As you mentioned, not him. In his last 5 starts in AAA, a 1.93 ERA and a 40-3 ratio in 28 innings. So even at AAA, you're striking out 40 guys in 28 innings.
And walking only 3.
3, yeah. You know, you've got a nice variety there. You do have to look, though, at Fried, a huge home road dichotomy At home, a 1.16 ERA on the whip. On the road, a 1.60 whip.
And not that sharp lately, so we'll see what the Cubs can do against him.